Okay, now I'm just going to work through the second half of this extra example sheet. So here it says, limit as x approaches -2 from the right. So again, I look at my graph, I find exactly x equal -2. I look up and down, and I notice that at exactly x equal -2, there is no dot at all. This open circle, that's a missing point, it's my ghost point. That's at x equal -2 exactly. I don't know how to draw that very well. And it's also at 3 exactly. So that's the ghost point. To answer this, I have to look at a different point. I can't actually see the point because there's an infinite number of them. But I pretend that I'm at a point whose x-coordinate is a little bit positive of -2. So here's exactly -2. So a little bit positive -2 is kind of there. So I'm looking at this dot. That dot is at exactly a little bit positive of -2. And it's just a little bit below 3. So if I'm making a table, I'd say, okay, a little bit, got negative, so this would be -2 plus, this would be 3 minus, therefore I'm looking right there, I'm not looking over here, don't look over here. So this value is 3 because of this or this, not because of this. The limit as x approaches 0 from the left. So I'm looking for the x-coordinate that is slightly negative of 0. This dot is at exactly 0, 0. I don't look there. I want the dot whose x-coordinate is just a little bit negative of x equals 0. So that's right here. That dot, let's see, that green dot, that's going to have an x-coordinate of just a little bit negative of 0. And a y-coordinate is just a little bit positive of 0. Therefore, as x gets really close to 0, but slightly negative, the y value is going to get very, very close to equaling 0. Then, for the limit as x approaches 0 plus, as x approaches 0 plus, come up here. This dot is at 0, 0. That's not where I should be looking. That's what I'm going to use if they said, what's f of 0? F of 0 is equal to 0. But I'm not looking there. I'm looking for the x-coordinate that is a little bit, has an x-coordinate more than 0. So I'm looking, different color, looking along this line, like that. So here's the x-coordinate, whose x-coordinate is just a little bit positive of 0. The y-coordinate right there looks to be just barely less than 3. So right here, when the x-coordinate is a little bit positive of 0, the y-coordinate is going to be just barely less than 3. Therefore, this limit is exactly 3. To find the overall limit as x approaches 0 exactly, don't look at the graph. The value of the left-hand limit is 0. The value of the right-hand limit is 3. Therefore, the value of the overall limit is non-existent, or D and E. Because the left-hand limit and the right-hand limit are not the same, the overall limit does not exist. Looking for what happens when x is close to 3 from the left. So x equal 3 is right here. That's exactly x. I'm going to drew that badly. So x equal 3 is right there. I'm looking for an x-coordinate that's a little bit less than 3. In fact, I can answer this. F of 3, that's this dot right here. So that blue dot is located at x equal 3, y equal 1. Therefore, f of 3 is precisely 1. However, I'm looking for where the dot is just a little bit negative of 3. So I would be looking right here, which means the dot I find is right there. Because that open circle, again, remember, is a ghost. There's nothing there. It's just my word, it's not a real math term. I refer to the open circle as a ghost dot. Nothing at the ghost dot. That's 3, comma, 2. But nothing is there. That's just a ghost. So I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the red dot. The red dot has an x-coordinate that is slightly negative of 3. And the y-coordinate right there, slightly more than 2. So as x gets infinitesimally close to equaling 3 from the negative side, the y-coordinate's getting infinitesimally close to equaling 2. Therefore, the value of that limit is 2. When I go to find the limit as x approaches 3 from the positive side, I'm looking up here. So I'm a little bit where x is a little bit more than 3. That's this dot. So that green dot is located at slightly more than 3, slightly less than 2. So when the x-coordinate is just a little bit more than 3, the y-coordinate is just a little bit less than 2, therefore this limit is exactly 2. To answer this, again, I do not look at the graph. I compare the left-hand limit and I compare the right-hand limit. Because both the right and left limits are 2, this limit is also 2. F of 2, that's different. Here I was finding the limit as x approaches 3. Now I'm going to go find what happens when x is 2. That's 0. And we already did f of 3.